If I lost every dollar tomorrow, I'd still only need 3 ETFs to rebuild a $1 million future, and I'll prove it. Imagine waking up broke, every investment gone, portfolio wiped clean. Most people would panic, but I'd start again, calmly, with just a few moves. Because wealth isn't complex, it's consistency. Let's be real, the thought of losing everything is terrifying. Watching years of hard work vanish overnight, seeing your net worth drop to zero, that's the kind of nightmare that makes your stomach twist. But here's the thing, it's also the ultimate test. What would you do if you had to rebuild from scratch? Most people would scramble, chase trends, or drown in financial noise, not me. Because after 2 decades of studying markets, screwing up trades, and finally learning what actually works, I've realized something simple. Wealth doesn't need chaos. It needs clarity. You don't need 15 ETFs, 100 stock picks, or perfect timing. You just need structure. A system that compounds quietly while you sleep. If I had to start from zero today, I wouldn't chase crypto or meme stocks. I'd go back to the roots with these 3 ETFs, that's it. Here's where it all starts to click. An ETF, short for Exchange Traded Fund, is basically a basket of different stocks bundled into one simple package. Instead of buying individual companies one by one, you're buying a slice of hundreds at once. Imagine holding a tiny piece of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and hundreds of others with just one click. That's instant diversification. And diversification is your best friend because it spreads risk. If one company tanks, others balance it out. But the real magic, cost and control. ETFs are dirt cheap compared to mutual funds. While mutual funds might quietly eat 1 to 2% of your money every year, most ETFs charge around 0.1% or less. Over decades, that small difference can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars or more staying in your pocket, not your fund managers. Plus, they trade like regular stocks, real-time prices, instant buying or selling. No waiting for end-of-day settlements. Here's what separates the pros from the panickers. ETFs take emotion out of the game. You're not chasing shiny stocks or dumping shares in fear. You're following a steady, proven system. Even Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor alive, has said most people should skip trying to beat the market and just invest in low-cost S&P 500 funds. That's not a shortcut, it's discipline. And that mindset? It's exactly why the ETFs I'm about to show you are built to last. Let's kick things off with the king, VOO, the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. If I could only own one fund for the rest of my life, this would probably be it. Why? Because VOO is the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it investment. It gives you ownership in 500 of the biggest companies in America, the same giants driving the US economy forward. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Johnson & Johnson, and the list goes on. When you own VOO, you're not betting on one winner, you're betting on the entire American machine. Here's the beauty of it. VOO has averaged around 10 to 11% in annual returns for decades. That's through wars, recessions, elections, and tech bubbles. It doesn't flinch, it compounds. And get this, the expense ratio is just 0.03%. That's $3 a year for every $10,000 you invest. Compare that with a typical mutual fund charging $200 on that same amount. It's insane how much small fees rob you over time. That 1 to 2% you save yearly could mean an extra hundreds of thousands of dollars by retirement. Now, if you're thinking, but VOO costs over $600 a share, I can't afford that. Relax. Many brokerages now offer fractional shares. You can start with $5 or $50. The key isn't how much you start with, it's that you start. And here's the strategy that changes everything. Dollar cost averaging. Instead of trying to time the market, you invest the same amount every week or month, rain or shine. When prices drop, you buy more shares. When they rise, you buy fewer. Over time, it smooths out your costs and compounds your wealth naturally. Think of it this way. If you invested just $10,000 a year in VOO with an average 10% return, you'd be sitting on nearly $1.6 million after 30 years. That's not a dream, that's math. And that's why VOO isn't just a fund, it's a foundation. Now here's where the strategy gets smarter. The second ETF I'd buy is SCHD, the Charles Schwab High Dividend ETF. If VOO is the growth backbone, SCHD is the steady heartbeat that keeps your portfolio alive when the market starts acting crazy. This ETF focuses on high-quality, dividend-paying companies. Think Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, Cisco Systems, Merck, and other rock-solid brands that have been printing profits for decades. These aren't flashy startups chasing hype. They're dependable businesses that pay you simply for holding their stock. And here's the beauty. SCHD currently offers around a 4% dividend yield. That means for every $10,000 you invest, you're earning roughly $400 every single year in cash just for owning it. Want more? Over the last decade, SCHD's dividend growth rate has averaged about 12% per year, extremely strong for a high-quality ETF. That's why SCHD has earned 11 to 12% annually over the last 10 years. Plus, if you're holding SCHD in a tax-advantaged account like an IRA or 401k, you're not paying taxes on those dividends right away. That gives your money more time to grow untouched, compounding year after year. And SCHD's expense ratio? A low 0.06%. But here's something a lot of investors miss. Chasing the highest dividend yield isn't the goal. The real secret is to own companies that can sustain and grow those dividends over time. And SCHD does that with high-quality blue chips. Firms with consistent profitability, strong free cash flow, and healthy debt levels. While tech stocks may plunge, the companies SCHD holds have strong balance sheets, positive cash flow, and decades of experience surviving tough times. That's how it maintains income and stability. When markets go haywire, SCHD doesn't panic. It quietly keeps paying you. Combine that reliability with its solid growth track record, and you've got the perfect stabilizer to pair with VOO's broader market power. Over the long haul, reinvesting those dividends can accelerate your compounding returns dramatically. This ETF might not make headlines every day, but in 20 years, it'll be the one quietly funding your retirement while others are still trying to time the next big thing. Now, let's add some adrenaline to this mix. The growth engine, QQQ, also known as the Nasdaq 100 ETF. If VOO is the foundation and SCHD is the anchor, QQQ is the rocket fuel. This ETF is packed with the 100 largest non-financial companies on the Nasdaq: Nvidia, Amazon, Tesla, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, and more. These are the innovators shaping the future, from AI to electric vehicles to cloud computing. Here's why QQQ earns a spot on this list. It's built for high growth potential. These companies don't just make money, they reinvent entire industries. Yes, they can be volatile. One bad quarter and prices can dip hard. But long term, QQQ has been a monster. Even if you'd invested at the peak of the dot-com bubble in 2000, you'd still be sitting on roughly 14 to 15% annualized returns today. That's the power of innovation compounding over time. But let's be honest, QQQ isn't for everyone. It swings. When the market drops, QQQ often drops harder. That's why you have to treat it like the spicy part of the meal, not the main course. You want it for the flavor and kick, but not so much that it burns your whole portfolio. The key is mindset. Don't panic when QQQ dips. Use downturns as opportunities. Buy more shares when the market's scared. That's when future millionaires are made. The tech sector rewards patience, not emotion. For younger investors with decades ahead, QQQ can turbocharge growth. For those nearing retirement, it's better as a smaller slice, just enough to capture innovation without sleepless nights. Balance is everything. VOO gives you the whole economy, SCHD pays you to stay patient, and QQQ pushes your wealth into the future. Together, they create the perfect triangle of diversification, growth, income, and stability. And honestly, that's the kind of portfolio that can weather anything 2025 throws your way. The beauty of this 3 ETF strategy is that it fits nearly every stage of life. You simply adjust the proportions based on your age and goals. Think of it as your personal roadmap for balance between growth, stability, and income. Younger investors in their 20s or 30s should tilt heavily toward QQQ, the high-growth tech ETF. With a longer time horizon, short-term volatility matters less, and exposure to innovation can lead to exponential wealth growth over time. A common setup could be 60% QQQ, 30% VOO, and 10% SCHD, prioritizing aggressive expansion. For those in their 40s and 50s, a balanced approach makes sense. These investors might lean on VOO for core growth and SCHD for steady dividend income, while keeping a smaller allocation in QQQ to capture tech-driven upside, say 40% VOO, 40% SCHD, and 20% QQQ. Finally, retirees or those near retirement benefit from income stability. In this case, SCHD becomes the cornerstone at 60%, with VOO offering moderate growth at 40%. Regardless of the mix, rebalancing once a year ensures your portfolio stays aligned with your goals. Here's a quick perspective. If you started at age 30 with $100,000, added $10,000 yearly, and earned an average of 9.5%, you'd end up with roughly $6.6 million by 65. Compare that to around $4 million from typical active funds, a stunning $2.6 million difference simply by avoiding high fees and emotional mistakes. At the heart of this entire strategy lies one timeless truth: simplicity wins. You don't need to chase hot stocks, time the market, or juggle 15 different ETFs to build real wealth. The combination of VOO, SCHD, and QQQ already gives you everything you need: steady growth from America's strongest companies, reliable income through dividends, and explosive innovation-driven returns. Keep your costs low, stay disciplined, and invest regularly instead of waiting for the perfect time. Every paycheck, every small contribution adds up. The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't timing, it's consistency. Even starting small today can turn into a fortune tomorrow if you simply stay the course. The key is to trust the process, keep investing, and let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Like, share, and subscribe for more practical wealth-building tips that actually work. We publish fresh content several times per week. See you on the next one.